The afternoon sunlight of May 1st, 2025, cast long shadows across New Glasgow, Nova Scotia, illuminating a scene that would soon haunt an entire nation. In a commercial location, security cameras captured 6-year-old Lily Sullivan and 4-year-old Jack Sullivan. In the footage, the siblings appear ordinary, moving through routine family outing with no signs of distress or alarm. To any observer watching in real time, it was a mundane moment of suburban life. Yet, this 7-second clip will become the most scrutinized piece of evidence in a baffling mystery. Within 24 hours, both children would vanish, and this surveillance footage would stand as the final verifiable proof that Lily and Jack were alive and well outside their immediate household. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police have confirmed that after this sighting, the trail goes cold. The question haunting investigators 8 months later is the void between this mundane afternoon and a frantic emergency call placed the following morning. What transpired in those hidden hours? The transition from a calm family shopping trip to a 911 report of 2 missing children remains the central enigma of the Sullivan case. On May 2nd, at approximately 10:01 a.m., the silence of a rural property in Lansdowne Station was shattered by that call. The children's mother, Lily Brooks Murray, and stepfather, Daniel Martel, reported that Lily and Jack had disappeared from their home. They claimed the children were playing in the kitchen while the adults napped with their 16-month-old baby. When they awoke to a silent house, the children were nowhere to be found. This sparked one of the largest search operations in the history of Nova Scotia. Over 160 trained volunteers, helicopters with infrared sensors, drones, and police dogs descended upon the dense, brutal terrain. For days, the wilderness was combed with clinical precision. Every rock was turned and every thicket was searched. Despite the massive scale of the operation and the deployment of advanced technology, no trace of the Sullivan children was ever found. No clothing, no footprints, no toys, nothing but the silence of the woods. To understand the gravity of the May 1st surveillance footage, we must look at the days leading up to the disappearance. Records indicate that Lily and Jack last attended Salt Springs Elementary School on Tuesday, April 29th. Wednesday was Professional Development Day, meaning no school. On Thursday, May 1st, the children were kept home. Daniel Martel stated that Lily had developed a persistent cough and was feeling unwell. This detail is significant because it removed the children from the sight of teachers and peers, narrowing their world to the immediate family unit. The RCMP later confirmed that during that Thursday afternoon, the family traveled to New Glasgow. While the exact commercial location remains undisclosed to protect the integrity of the investigation, court documents and interviews confirm the presence of Daniel, Lily, the baby, Lily, and Jack. Daniel Martel himself confirmed to CBC News that police retrieved this footage. It shows a family engaged in normal activities. No conflict, no urgency, just the quiet rhythm of a family out in public. This footage serves as an objective anchor in an investigation otherwise built on subjective testimony. It proves the children were healthy and behaving normally just hours before they were reported gone. For investigators, this video performs 3 critical functions. First, it provides incontrovertible proof of life on May 1st. Second, it establishes a definitive time-stamped timeline, creating a specific window of approximately 18 to 20 hours between the sighting and the 911 call. Third, it creates a narrow investigative focus. By knowing the children returned home after this outing, police can ask the hardest questions. Who had access to property? Why did no neighbors see or hear them? And most importantly, what occurred within the walls of the Lansdowne Station home after the sun went down on May 1st. This video is the last time the world can verify the children were alive. Beyond that timestamp, the only version of events we have comes from within the household, where the story of a mourning disappearance begins. According to the accounts provided by Daniel Martel and Lily Brooks Murray, the family returned to their rural property on Gairloch Road after their outing in New Glasgow. Daniel maintains that May 1st passed without incident. The children were fed, the atmosphere was normal, and the household settled in for the night. However, this is where the investigation hits a wall of silence. Despite the property being rural, it is not entirely isolated. There are neighbors within earshot and a road that sees regular, if light, traffic. Yet, between the afternoon of May 1st and the morning of May 2nd, not a single person, no delivery driver, no neighbor, no passerby, reported seeing Lily or Jack. The children seemed to have vanished from the public nearly 24 hours before the authorities were ever notified. On the morning of May 2nd, the narrative provided to the RCMP describes a quiet morning where the children were playing in the kitchen. The adults reportedly took the infant into the bedroom for a nap. When they emerged, they found an empty house. They claimed they searched the property and the surrounding woods themselves before calling 10:01 a.m. This specific timeline has become the subject of intense forensic scrutiny. The RCMP has conducted a methodical investigation into these hours, utilizing every tool at their disposal. They have performed 86 formal interviews, analyzed thousands of hours of community-submitted video, and followed over 1,000 tips. The scale of the investigation reflects a rarity of such a case. 2 children vanishing without a single physical trace. Superintendent Dan Merrow, a veteran of 33 years, described the disappearance as extremely rare. The focus remains on the gap between the verifiable video and the reported disappearance. If the children were in the house, why is there no forensic evidence of their presence or their departure? If they wandered into the woods, why did the most advanced search teams in the province find absolutely nothing? The lack of evidence has forced the RCMP to lean heavily on the last known point of certainty, the May 1st surveillance footage. As the months rolled by, the investigation into the disappearance of Lily and Jack Sullivan took several complex turns. In August 2025, redacted court documents were released, revealing a startling update from the RCMP. As of mid-July, investigators stated they no longer considered the case to be criminal in nature, though they pointedly added that they had not ruled out the possibility that the disappearance was suspicious. This careful, legalistic phrasing suggests that while the evidence for a specific crime was not yet sufficient for charges, the authorities were far from satisfied with the explanations provided. In their quest for the truth, the RCMP administered 7 polygraph tests. Among those tested were Daniel Martell, Malaya Brooks Murray, and the children's biological father, Cody Sullivan. Daniel and Malaya both publicly stated that they passed their examinations. Cody Sullivan, who had no contact with the children at the time of their disappearance, also reportedly passed. Despite these results, the investigation has not changed direction. The RCMP understands the limitations of polygraphs. In Canada, they are not admissible as evidence because they measure physiological stress rather than truth. A person can pass while withholding information or fail while being honest. Because of this, the RCMP has remained focused on physical evidence and the rigid structure of the timeline. Staff Sergeant Chris McKay has spoken about the pursuit of long-term justice. This phrasing is highly significant in the world of criminal justice. It implies that the police are not looking for a quick arrest, but are instead building a foundational case, forming a picture, as McKay put it, that will stand up to the highest levels of judicial scrutiny. They are collecting every piece of digital breadcrumb, from dash cam footage to doorbell cameras, trying to see if the family vehicle was spotted elsewhere or if anyone else visited the Gairloch Road property during those dark hours. The May 1st footage remains the anchor for all this work. It is the one thing that cannot be argued away. It proves the children existed, they were healthy, and they were in the company of the adults who would later report them missing. The disappearance of the Sullivan children is a case defined by its lack of typical markers. Usually, when children wander away, there is a scent trail for dogs, a discarded shoe, or a disturbed patch of brush. In this case, 40 kilometers of wilderness were searched by cadaver dogs and specialized teams, yet the woods offered up nothing. This total absence of physical evidence is what makes the May 1st surveillance footage so haunting. It is a vibrant, moving image of 2 children who, for all intents and purposes, have ceased to exist in the physical world. The RCMP has been incredibly protective of this footage. In active investigations, video evidence is guarded like a state secret to prevent the contamination of future witness testimony and to maintain leverage during interrogations. By not releasing the video, they ensure that only someone who was actually there or who has intimate knowledge of the family's movements can speak to the details of that afternoon. This creates a hold-back strategy that is vital for long-term justice. Even without seeing the video, the public knows its weight. It has become an elegy for Lily and Jack, a final record of their voices, their movements, and their presence. 8 months later, the community of Pictou County remains deeply engaged. The government of Nova Scotia has even offered a $150,000 reward for information of investigative value. Vigils are held, and volunteers still walk the periphery of the woods, hoping to find what the drones and helicopters missed. The investigation has expanded and contracted in waves, moving from the frantic energy of a rescue mission to the slow, grinding pace of a major crime cold case. Yet, the RCMP insists the case is not cold. It is active, prioritized, and focused. They are waiting for the one tip or the one forensic breakthrough that bridges a gap between that ordinary shopping trip in New Glasgow and the silence that followed. The surveillance footage tells us where they were. The investigation is now a desperate search for where they went. As we reflect on the timeline of May 1st, 2025, we are forced to confront a deeply troubling reality. Lily and Jack Sullivan were last seen by the world in a moment of total normalcy. They were shopping with their family, perhaps tired from a day at home, unaware that the clock was ticking down on their last public appearance. Within hours, they would vanish, leaving behind a void that no search party or reward has been able to fill. The May 1st surveillance footage is a piece of a puzzle that remains largely unfinished. It provides awareness in one of their last known location, but the how and why remains shrouded in the rural mist of Lansdowne Station. The RCMP continues to urge the public to come forward. They believe that somewhere, someone holds a piece of information that seems small, but could be the key to unlocking the entire case. Perhaps a dash cam caught a glimpse of a car on Gairloch Road at an unusual hour, or a neighbor noticed a detail they previously thought was insignificant. In missing person cases, the smallest details often lead to the biggest breakthroughs. The May 1st footage serves as a stark reminder that in these investigations, the most important evidence is often the thing we lose, the last glimpse before everything changed. This case does not end with answers. It ends with family waiting, a community searching, and investigators working tirelessly to bring Lily and Jack home. The surveillance footage remains a marker in time, an incontrovertible fact in a sea of questions. It proves that whatever happened to these two children, it happened after they left that commercial location on that sunny Thursday afternoon. Until the truth is uncovered, Lily and Jack remain frozen in those 7 seconds of video. Ordinary, healthy, and alive. If you have any information, no matter how minor it may seem, contact the Pictou County District RCMP or submit a tip through Nova Scotia Crime Stoppers. Every detail matters. Every moment counts. Help us ensure that Lily and Jack are never forgotten